You're listening to the Patriot Nation podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation podcast. You got Pat Lane, as always, here with my man Matt St. Jean. And Matt, it's a sad day in the Lane household today. Tre Nixon has retired from the New England Patriots. He lived. Listen, I will always be the conductor of the hype train. Always. I won't say that he had terrible hands and that's why he couldn't make the team. I won't say that, he had a bunch of opportunities and just couldn't make it. But some people could say those things.
I still can't believe Tre Nixon was one of the first, the first player to wear 87 after
he was
Gronk left, which is crazy. He had his moments. He was a solid player at points. It was one of those, I loved him, but it was one of those things where it felt like every preseason you were waiting for him to make that one moment, and it just never quite came. Or had a couple drops in there, and
there was one.
You saw the talent, but it just never.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of. So when he was a rookie, his rookie year, and I'm trying to think if it was Mac or if it was Cam. It was a preseason game. It was a preseason game, and I mean, just an absolutely perfect throw into the corner of the end zone. And it was one of those weird things where he was maybe rolling out or something. He made this incredible throw to the corner of the end zone. And I don't know, it was covered, but he had a shot at it and he just dropped it. And you just man, that just sucks. It was a great play and he just couldn't finish it. And that kind of summed up because he got open. And he did what he could, and he just couldn't finish it off. Couldn't finish off the game.
Nope. And there was a lot of that with him, and it was incredibly for a guy who went that late in the draft. Tre Nixon was very talented. The issue for him was always consistency and hands, and turning that into something that would work against NFL defenses. And you saw him get open. I think in the preseason, it was just it was drops that would do him in, and not enough of the big plays to outweigh that.
Yeah. Yep. So, unfortunately, I still have my Tre Nixon autographed card, but it is what it is. So, because of the Tre Nixon thing, we're talking about what we do today and so on and so forth, and we like to do kind of some drafts and some different things, and so we decided to do a draft tonight of players that we were excited about or that we thought would be good or this is why we got to talk before, because training camp one-hit wonders is just a great way to put it. So that's our draft tonight is training camp one-hit wonders, guys that we really thought were going to be great and just weren't.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of examples. The majority of them were on offense. I don't know if I found any on defense. There might have been one or two guys.
Well, part of the issue with this is that the guys who were one-hit wonders on defense almost invariably just kept playing well in the regular season. Like a guy like a J.C. Jackson would fall into this category, but he became a very good cornerback. And Malcolm Butler,
same thing.
That type of guy, defensively, they turned into that. And then the other thing is, if you're a defensive player and you're playing, linebacker or somewhere around the line of scrimmage, it's hard to be a one-hit wonder in something like that. It's because if you don't have the size, if you don't have the speed, if you don't have the instincts, you're going to get washed out pretty quick. So,
there is one guy that I think kind of falls into that category. We'll talk about him. I doubt you're going to take him. I don't think I'm going to take him either, but he'll be an honorable mention at the end. We'll talk about that. So
So are we doing snake draft?
That's what I'm thinking. We'll do snake. And did I start last time? I feel like I started last time, didn't I?
You did. I think I'm up. Oh boy, this is.
So I think you're up with the first overall pick.
Yeah. Let's see. because I think there's a lot of ways you can go, and also judging the criteria here. This is obviously so nebulous. You can go by how good the player was. You can go by how fun the training camp was, how good you thought they were going to be. A lot of different ways to do this. Oh man, I'm gonna go with a guy who I think, especially there's a couple of people who could fit in this. I'm gonna go with one, especially when I was a little bit younger, who I got really hyped up for, and who also came to a very quick end in New England. Who I think really fits this, and this is one that we talked about earlier, Pat. I think this is a good one overall to set the tone here. We're going with a tight end. Give me Zach Sudfeld.
Woo-wee. Yeah. You know what's so funny is that I kid you not, my father texted me during the show, and he goes, "Who was that tight end everyone was sure was going to be a star, and then played a little with the Jets maybe 8 years ago?" Zach Sudfeld. Yeah. That's the guy. Yeah. It's a fantastic pick. It's so perfect because there was nothing that would lead you to believe that he was this incredible. I mean, we saw like little tiny flashes of it, but it was one of those things where everyone was like, "Oh my God, like this guy is it." And it's just like Zach Sudfeld just sucked. He just sucked. I mean, like it just, it's okay. He just wasn't good.
When Sudfeld got the baby Gronk nickname from, it looks like Ben Volin was the guy who coined that. Here we go. A quote here from Volin. "I'm driving the bandwagon on Sudfeld. I love this kid. I mean, he's basically baby Gronk, 6'7". Man, baby Gronk too. That's really funny nowadays. Great athlete, really good in the run game as well.
Brutal.
Undrafted. He was a 5-year college guy, which I actually didn't realize at the time. He was at Nevada for a while. Good athlete, big guy, and ended up playing 4. He made the team out of camp, was on the team for 4 games, and got cut. Had a single catch, 3 targets, no catches. Played, what is this, like 45 snaps?
Just
in those 3 games. It was inactive for one of them, and then got cut. Ended up going to the Jets. Stayed with them for a little bit, and that was it.
Yep. Matt with the quote right here went from Studfeld to Dudfeld in 2 seconds flat. So totally true.
He really did.
So that's a great round 1 pick. That's a great pick. Now the question becomes, what the hell do I do here?
And you get to double up.
I'm going to double up, and I think I'm going to go with 2 fairly recent ones, but only because, my first pick is going to be Jeff Thomas. And here's the reason why it's going to be Jeff Thomas. We were so sure, and by we, I mean every single Patriots fan and Patriots beat writer, we're so sure that Jeff Thomas out of Miami was going to be like their number 1 wide receiver. And he fell in the draft because of off-field issues, and he was a stud, and he was going to be incredible. And you don't just wait until you see him on the field. He's going to blow everyone away. It's going to be unbelievable. Their receiving problems have solved. And he never even played. Like, I don't think he even played. Did he even play a preseason game? Like, I don't remember him on the field at all.
Was he injured or something too?
Yeah, he was injured back and forth. He was everything else. Matt said he wore 75 in camp, which he did. Wore 75 in camp because he's like literally the last guy he picked up, and he just could not play. Just absolutely couldn't play. And so, just because the hype around him was so big, and it was just an out-and-out disaster. And so Jeff Thomas is my
and here's
my first round pick.
Here's a headline for you. This is from August 20th, 2020. So well into the preseason. The headline: Patriots rookie wide receiver Jeff Thomas makes first public appearance at training camp. Because he'd been missing at different points.
Right. And I'm telling you, people at that point, people were still like, "Oh, well, just wait until Jeff Thomas comes." I mean, I was one of those idiots that was like, "Oh yeah, dude, he's gonna be great. Of course, he's gonna be good." and he was not. He was not. So maybe let's do 5 rounds. I know I had said to you 4 rounds. You've done the research to do 5 rounds, right?
I could try.
All right. If we'll see what happens, but either way. All right, round 2.
Yeah.
My first pick in round 2. Again, I'm going recency bias here, but I just feel like the hype around him was so big. It just.
I think I know. I think I know where you're going here.
Just such insane hype, and that's Malik Cunningham.
Yeah.
And Malik Cunningham, the people went nuts over him because of one drive in the 4th quarter of a preseason game. People went absolutely insane. Belichick was playing him at receiver, which I didn't think was a great idea. But, he gets cut by the Patriots, picked up by the Ravens. Everyone says, "Oh, thank God you can finally go play the position you're going to play." And guess what? He's back to receiver because he can't play quarterback. Like, it just, and I don't think he'll ever make it as a receiver, in my opinion. Maybe he will. I don't think he ever will. But it just, the hype was so completely insane over Cunningham. And, based on what we got out of the quarterback position last year, maybe we should have thrown him out there anyways. But it was crazy last year.
That one drive was the only exciting part of the preseason.
It might have been the only exciting part of the entire season.
No, we got the 2-minute drive against the Bills.
That's true.
And Shadow Island against the
Broncos. That's a great point.
Those were exciting. But yeah, no, the preseason at least, it was, because that's the other thing, because for as boring as the preseason is for a lot of it, it's simultaneously really exciting. Like there will be the parts of football game that are usually exciting end up being boring in the preseason, but then the boring parts sometimes end up being exciting because that's where players just come out of nowhere.
Yep.
And this past preseason, there was none of that except for that one Malik Cunningham drive. It was just,
it's so true.
He was high on my board. He probably would have been my next pick. I'm gonna go. I think I got a fun pairing here for my next 2 picks.
Okay.
You know what? While we're doing mobile quarterbacks, I got another one for you here, Pat.
Okay. I think I like where this is going. Let's see.
The fastest man in New England.
Oh my God!
Briefly, the fastest man in the tri-state area. The man, the myth, the legend, Danny Etling.
Oh my Lord, Danny Etling
with the read option touchdown in that was from the 4th preseason game against the Giants. I don't even remember what year that was. 2018, 2019, something like that.
God. Yeah,
the LSC product. Incredible peak preseason moment. I think it was an 85-yard touchdown run. It might have been 75 yards. But it was like first play of a drive, a read option.
I think it was
Nobody went with the quarterback.
I think it was like 85 yards.
Yeah, it was
unbelievable. Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 85 yards. 86, says Matt.
86, yeah.
2018 draft, so it must have been 2018. Because he was a rookie that year. And then he switched. Remember he switched to tight end? He was like working out at tight end too. And
because he was
wide receiver. I'm sorry. He tried to in the 2019 camp he came in trying to be a wide receiver because he just basically was like not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. He had 113 yards rushing in that preseason game. We're gonna overlook the 2 interceptions he threw. Yeah. But yeah, no, and he wasn't. He is a Super Bowl champion because he was with the team that year.
Very true.
Yeah, Etling, that one moment, that is a one-hit wonder. If I have ever seen one right there, truly one play. I'm gonna add somebody else here. A couple years earlier than that. And this is somebody who did make the team, and somebody who would make an impact in New England.
Okay.
That's Chris Harper.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He was exceptional in the preseason. I think he led the team in like receiving yards or whatever in 2015 as an undrafted free agent and made the team and like looked good, especially because, that was the year Brendan LaFell was rough, 2015, and Aaron Dobson was not it. And it was, you were searching for that wide receiver depth and it looked like, all right, we might have somebody. And then he muffs a punt in Denver. He might have been undrafted free agent in 2014 and then made the team in 2015. I'm gonna have some of the years mixed up here, but yeah, somebody who played well enough in the preseason to make the team and then had a costly game-losing play that arguably determined the Super Bowl champion that year with how important home field was in the playoffs.
You were right, by the way, about 2015. Yeah, that was God.
Yeah,
that one game. Patriots win that game, and they win the Super Bowl in 2015.
Or maybe not, because maybe they don't beat Carolina that year. I think Carolina matches up differently with New England.
Paper tiger, in my opinion. I always felt that way about Carolina.
I agree they were a paper tiger, but this was also before Bill figured out how to stop a mobile quarterback.
That is true. It's a good point. It's a good point.
And the Patriots were so injured that year. But yeah, and that was, the Brock Osweiler snow Sunday Night Football game out in Mile High with CJ Anderson giving you that long touchdown run to win it, and
brutal.
Chris Harper muffing a punt. But in the preseason, he was amazing, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. Yep. That's a great one. That's a good one. By the way, we got Jordan Walker watching us from St. Louis. Thanks for coming out.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate it.
The city that produced NBA champion Jason Tatum.
Hey, baby. All right. My third round pick, I can't believe he's still here, to be honest with you. He is, I feel like we potentially could have named this draft after him. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we could have named this draft after him, and that is Bam Childress from The Ohio State University, undrafted player in 2005. And
this is just enough before my time on this one.
That's true, I suppose. But like the absolute definition of a summer warrior. Like the dude was a legend in preseason games and in training camp and just couldn't play. Just couldn't actually play, but looked great in the preseason and training camp playing against backups. But no, that one's that's a fun one. So
that's an all-time name because that's somebody that I missed watching him play. But I know, and I go on Twitter and I see people just a little bit older than me talking about the good old days. That name always comes. Bam Childress ain't walking through that door.
Right. He was electric in the preseason. And so Bam Childress is my pick right there. And Nelson, you're right about Tre Nixon. We started off the show with Tre Nixon, and we'll he might make it onto this draft. You never know. So we'll see. There's certainly a chance. If I'm one of the guys drafting, there's definitely a chance that he'll end up on the draft board. So, but all right, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and finish off this draft of players that were training camp one-hit wonders. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat predictions and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Now, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks, which mean you can turn $10 into $1,000. Now, if you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every single week, from lowering select players' stat predictions on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have losing lineups on Friday. Now, for me personally, I'm all in on the WNBA right now. I'm going Caitlin Clark with more than 3.5 3-pointers made, and Brianna Stewart for more than 23 points. And then in the MLB side, I'm going with Kyle Schwarber for more than a 9-hitter fantasy score, and Paul Skeens with more than 5 pitcher strikeouts. Now, download the PrizePicks app today and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy. All right. So we got 2 rounds left, and I got about 6 guys that I want to take. It's not great. It's a very tough decision over here. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to show my age a little bit.
Hit me.
I'm going to show my age a little bit, and I'm going to give you a guy you may not have ever heard of before.
Okay.
But that I was a very big fan of way back in the day. Actually, so this guy actually ended up having about a 10-year career in the NFL. Won a Super Bowl, not with the Patriots, but never really finished his career with 11 career receptions. So, not really great. So, that guy is the pride of Marshfield, Massachusetts, from Brown University, Sean Morey. Wide receiver Sean Morey.
This name.
Yep. He was an drafted in the 7th round of the 1999 draft by the Patriots. Played with the Patriots for 1999 season and the 2000 season. And then I believe was cut. Oh, I'm sorry. Spent the 2000 practice season with practice squad with the Patriots. And then actually ended up playing in Barcelona for like that summer and then joined Philadelphia. And actually they were saying was nominated for like an all-pro team in 2003 as a special teams guy. So he turned into a special teams maven, basically, is what he did, and played 10 years because of it. But that was Sean Morey was like a white wide receiver from Brown that like everybody loved. And he didn't do enough, and he didn't really become that special teams ace until after he left here. But I was like convinced that Sean Morey was going to be great, and he wasn't.
See,
so
what's funny about this is that I'm pretty sure I wasn't even a year old yet when he was drafted. So that's
right. No, I mean, again, drafted in the 7th round, 1999. So you're talking 25 years ago.
Yeah, he's. I have to go look up some Sean Morey highlights after this. That's what I'm gonna do before bed.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, I got 2 guys coming up. I'm sticking recent here. All my guys are recent.
Okay, I like it.
I got one here that I think is really fits this category. Type of guy. We got a white slot receiver, guy who's productive in the preseason, guy who doesn't even make the roster.
Oh no.
Austin Carr, come on down.
Oh, that's such a good one. I love it.
I'm a little bit surprised he's still on the board because I feel like he fits this so perfectly.
He does.
Like
You're right.
He's the receiver who everybody is hyped about, who comes in when you're looking for a receiver, who's good in the preseason, and he still doesn't make the roster, never does anything in the league, and that's it. He was this was 2017 too. He was fun that year. 14 in the preseason, 14 catches, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Doesn't make the team, waived, goes to the Saints, played 2 games his rookie year. He did have almost 100 yards receiving his second year with the Saints. IR his next year, and then kind of an on-again, off-again roster guy in 2020, and that was it for him. But those 153 yards in the summer of 2017 will not be forgotten.
I love it. Yeah. And look at Matt says his career stats. That's so good. Well done, sir.
And done. So he has his career stats: 13 catches, 133 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had basically the same numbers in his first preseason.
Right. Yeah.
My other one here. This is kind of the opposite of a one-hit wonder, but I have to put him on because he's so synonymous for just his preseason production. I feel like I'm going to slide him into my last pick as kind of a lifetime achievement award.
Okay.
This. And that's J.J. Taylor, a guy who has consistently, stayed around the team and made the roster and has had a couple moments in the regular season. But he is the guy where if you just turn on a game in the third quarter of the preseason at any point, like the past 6 years, it feels like you're going to see him carry the ball 20 times and he's going to look elite. And that, I think, deserves recognition here for a guy who's never amounted to anything significant in the NFL. J.J. Taylor, you deserve your flowers as a preseason Patriots legend.
I love it. I really want to draft Tre Nixon. I really want to do it. I mean, he's the inspiration for this draft, but I just don't know if I actually can, because because there are guys that had more, I would say, hype around them. And so I think I'm going to go with Devin Asiasi.
Okay.
Just, and I could have gone with Dalton Keene as well, I suppose. But the two of them, people are like, oh, they're going to like reshape the Patriots tight end group. The Patriots traded up for both these guys. And Asiasi gets hurt in his first training camp, never really makes an impact, plays his second year with what's his name? Come on now. It's coming. No, well, did he get drafted? They got drafted in 2020, right?
Yeah.
And so he did end up playing a few games with Cam, but he just was a mess.
Oh yeah,
he sucked.
He got that touchdown in week 17 against the Jets.
Yes, right. So he just never amounted to nothing, unfortunately. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
He has a decent moment as a blocker, but yeah.
Yeah.
The other guy I want to say here, because he never really even had the moment in training camp because of injury, but from that same draft, Dalton Keene.
Yeah.
All
same thing, man. 100%.
Elite athlete. They called him Rambo, but
yeah,
wasn't on the field.
It was tough for me to choose between those two. I feel like I was a little higher on Asiasi, so that's why I went Asiasi, but you certainly could have gone Keene as well. And Tyquan Thornton's a good one as well. People have mentioned Tyquan Thornton. That's certainly a good one. Tre Nixon retired today. That's why. That's why.
Yeah. I got another name here that I think
I got a few
deserves an honorable mention because he had one hit in the regular season as well.
Okay.
But Brian Timms.
That's a good
Randy Moss Timms.
Yep. Oh, dude, here's
Jeff
a good
Demps.
one.
How did we forget Jeff? You brought up Jeff Demps when you gave me the idea. When we talked about this idea.
No, I brought up Jeff Thomas, not Jeff Demps. I forgot about Olympian sprinter Jeff Demps, who just can't play football. Super fast, can't play football. A few more on my list. Obviously, Tre Nixon. Michael Bishop was on my list. Michael Bishop was Malik Cunningham before Malik Cunningham was Malik Cunningham, except Michael Bishop had like a crazy arm. And so Bishop was awesome. He just couldn't actually play. From Kansas State. You don't see a lot of guys from Kansas State. Jared Stidham. I was convinced that Stidham was going to be the guy.
When that Stidham sitting on the throne picture dropped, it was like, all right, here we go.
I was convinced that Stidham was going to be the guy.
I fooled myself on that one.
I almost took him in the 5th round because I'm like, that's pretty good. That's a good one. But I didn't do it. But Stiddy, yeah. And then Josh Bledsoe, still on the team, but Josh Bledsoe, I feel like the last 2 camps, Josh Bledsoe has looked incredible in training camp. Has looked awesome in training camp and in preseason. I feel like every single practice he's making plays all over the field. And then he just can't get on the field. And when he's on the field, he stinks. And so it's, So I guess he still has a chance this year because he's technically still on the team. But man, just a real disappointment. I know they have a really talented safety group and everything, but just a disappointment that he hasn't been able to do anything out there from what we've seen of him. Yeah. So
another name I think deserves to be on here, Christian Wilkerson.
Yep. Another good one.
Yeah, he had some. He's a guy who had some real moments in camp, and that injury against the Panthers and joint practices kind of did it for him, which was unfortunate because he actually felt like he was developing into somebody who could be a useful depth receiver, and that got sidelined, which is brutal. But he had some moments. Christian Wilkerson. I feel like there's a lot of wide receivers wearing 17 who could be on this list. How about Taylor? Here's the thing. I wasn't young enough to really know Taylor Price as a preseason player, but I do know the hype was there. Did he have training camp or preseason moments, or was he just injured?
Nah, I don't think he ever. I don't remember him ever being like, "Oh yeah, this guy's gonna be good." I just don't think that ever even happened, to be honest with you. Yeah, he was drafted in the third round in 2010, and he just never. Never did anything. Inactive for the first 15 games. Caught 3 passes in his season finale. Played in 3 games in 2011 and was cut in December. I don't know. I don't remember him ever doing anything. So, I don't know. So, but that's, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, he never did anything. So I don't remember. I remember thinking like, oh, he's gonna be good, but I don't remember like seeing any actual evidence to back that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brandon Tate's a good one. Someone
Brandon
mentioned Brandon Tate's a good one. Now Brandon Tate obviously was a returner for a long time, but again, he it's the way it goes. Jack mentioned Gunnar Olszewski, another good one.
Olszewski was a guy I was going to mention. Olszewski had some good enough moments as a player that I thought he might not qualify for this.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I was going back to what do you call it, Taylor Price. There, I will say one of my earliest memories, like really digging into football news, was like this is when I first got like a phone and could just like read articles and stuff whenever I wanted. So I used to just read everything Mike Reese put out. Like anytime he wrote something, I remember one of his quick hitter columns, and this must have been like, November, December 2011, something like that, if I had to guess. Okay. And it was about like Taylor Price, like rehabbing from injury, and like he's almost back, and like we're seeing him do stuff in practice, and he's going to make an impact. I was like, well, if Mike Reese says he's going to be good, he's going to be good.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
And then cut.
Never amounted to much.
Somebody earlier mentioned Jonas Gray, which is a great one. Jonas Gray, of course, not necessarily a training camp one-hit wonder, but certainly a one-hit wonder for the Patriots. Scores those 5 touchdowns and then never plays again. That was a good one. That's a really good one. So, matter of fact, what's funny about him is I don't want to say I had inside information, but I did have some info on him. Someone had said to me like, hey, the Patriots are super light. Jonas Gray is a guy that might actually play a little bit. So I was like, okay. I scooped him up, started him that week that he had the 5 touchdowns. He scored like 71 points for me in fantasy. It was incredible. So that was a cool one. One guy I do want to give a shout out to, not because he ever played or anything like that, but a guy by the name of Kendrick Bullard. Now, Kendrick Bullard, I think, was a rookie. I'd say probably 95, maybe 96. Anyways, back then, the Patriots Pro Shop, we've come a long way now, okay? The Patriots Pro Shop back then was in a trailer. So it was literally in a trailer. So we were there. We were getting autographs from all these different people, whatever. We were just like walking around trying to get guys autographs as they were walking to their car. This is how things have changed, okay? There was 2 of us, me and my cousin, literally getting autographs from these guys as they're walking back. And Dave Woolabar and Harold Green and, all sorts of like random dudes that we were getting autographs for. It was cool. But anyways, my mom is in there shopping for my dad in the trailer, shopping for my dad. And she just starts talking to this like random kid. And he's like, oh yeah, he's like, you're a Patriots fan? She's like, yeah, I'm buying this, jacket for my husband, blah, 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 this and that. And he's like, let me, I have a discount. Let me give you my discount. Well, turns out he was a player, and his name was Kendrick Bullard. And she was like, oh, and funnily enough, he wore 17 as well. And so he was just super nice. Gave her his discount. She bought something, and she said to him, she goes, listen, here's my home phone number. If you ever want a home cooked meal, like, we'll cook for you. You can come over and eat dinner with us if you want, anytime. And he said, okay, thanks. So like about a week later, he called the house, and I answered the phone, and I'm like, hello. And I remember I'm like 10, 11, maybe, 12, maybe. And he's like, hi, I'm looking for Rosemary. This is Kendrick Bullard. And I'm like, Mom, the Patriots guy's on the phone. So it was wild. So we ended up getting cut by the Patriots, and I think he ended up playing with Jacksonville, I think, for a year. And that was really it in the NFL. But super nice guy, and a guy that, if we're talking about things like that, I think deserves a little shout out. But it was like, I still remember him calling the house phone, being like, "Oh my God, that's like a Patriots kid, like a kid who plays for the Patriots on the phone right now."
That's a dream. It's Yeah, not at all the same thing, but I do remember they used to have a feature on the website where you could email a player and you could just like send a
Okay.
message to someone, which I don't know. I emailed Tom Brady, I'm sure, many times. I don't know whatever came of all of those messages that were sent.
Yeah,
But
probably not
I
much.
did not. I tell you, I didn't get a call on my home phone from him.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's cool. I didn't realize they did that. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I do remember at one point when I was a kid being like, this is how obsessed with Tom Brady I was. I didn't send a message like, oh, like I want to be a franchise quarterback because of you or anything like that. It was, I want to be in the NFL and be your backup.
I love it. That's so good.
Which of course, my parents were like, hey, you're not like you're still young. Like, he'll be out of the NFL by the time you're there.
Yeah.
He was still in the NFL by the time I would have, had that hypothetical NFL career ever happened for me.
I love it. Yeah. There you go. Kendrick Bollard, according to Matt, Kendrick Bollard played 12 games in 96, returned 7 kickoffs for 157 yards. How about that?
Okay.
War number 88 for Jacksonville. How about that?
Should find out what he's up to now.
Yeah, I'm sure he lives down south or something like that. So I think he was a guy from the south. But anyways, all right. We'll run through a quick recap of the draft, and then we'll do a quick ad break, and then we'll come back and talk about a few more things. I'm sure we have a few more things to talk about. So Matt's draft. Round 1, Zach Sudfeld. Round 2, Danny Etling. Then Chris Harper, Austin Carr, and J.J. Taylor. That's one heck of a draft.
Taking on the world with that team. That's that is right there. Like that's a really good starting like 5 skill position guy type things for the fourth quarter of a preseason game. Whew.
Yeah, I like that.
It's gonna cook some guys.
All right, my starting 5 here is Jeff Thomas, Malik Cunningham, Bam Childress, Sean Morey, and Devin Asiasi. Dominique Easley, Razai Dowling, and Lawrence Maroney. Lawrence Maroney is not deserving of this award. Lawrence Maroney actually played for multiple years. Easley, I can see. He didn't really play much. Guy had no knees. And then Razai Dowling, of course. I don't think he ever played either. I think he was just hurt his whole career. By the way, one thing I will mention just quickly. My dad pointed out. I will echo what he said. Michael Bishop was the MVP of NFL Europe. And so NFL Europe, long defunct by now. But there you go. Oh, look at this. Kendrick Bollard with a Super Bowl ring on the Cowboys practice squad in 1995. How about that?
Look at that.
Love to see it. So, all right. Anyways, let's take a quick ad break, and then we'll come back with something. I'm sure we got something else to talk about.
We'll make something up.
All right, now the basketball season is officially over and the Celtics have hung banner 18. It's time to shift our focus to the Red Sox. And GameTime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, view from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Now, for me, I'm actually going to see the Red Sox later on this month. Can't wait to go. And it's going to be a lot of fun. What is better than sitting in the stands at Fenway with a dog and a beer watching the Red Sox play? Fantastic. Great way to spend a summer night. Now, on Game Time, you have last minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, even concerts or comedy or theater or anything else that you go to. You can actually save with zone deals as well. So you can choose the section and let Game Time choose the seat for you. And then they also have all-in pricing. And this is great because all-in pricing shows a total upfront with none of those hidden fees that you have when you get to checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CLNS to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. Eugene Chung on there. It's a pretty good one. Eugene Chung, pretty good.
Did you ever watch Kenny Mayne on ESPN?
Of course.
Do you remember the Wang Chung, everybody Wang Chung tonight thing?
Yes, I do.
The Patriots playing the Bills. He was talking about how we finally got the Wang Chung game because there was some guy at the Bills named Wang and then Patrick Chung on the Patriots.
I love it. That's
That
so
was
good.
a great moment in. I mean, whatever happened to Kenny Mayne? I don't know what he's up to these days.
I don't know. Eugene Chung. It's funny. The most I've ever thought about Eugene Chung is when I would accidentally call Patrick Chung Eugene Chung. So just because he was wearing he had the same last name and on the Patriots. So it's funny doing that stuff, and you find, and I'm sure people that are listening or are watching that kind of have something similar. But after you watch for so long, you see a guy out there with a number or with a name, but with a number, and you're like, wait, what is that guy doing out there? And you're like, oh, wait a second, like. You see someone with 54 and you're like, oh, is that, Hightower or Bruschi or, then you start going back, you know what I mean? When you're like, oh God, that's this guy. And you're like, wait, that guy's played in 20 years. Like, what the hell am I talking? What am I talking about? That's not him, obviously. And so it's just interesting. It is funny to kind of take a look at some of these guys through the years and think like, oh man, so yeah. Anyways, just one of those weird things, I would say. So
can I throw out a couple other names that we didn't get to before on this list?
Yes, you can.
I got two that were just like, I think discount versions of other guys I had on the list. They didn't make the cut. DJ Foster, a running back.
Ooh, good one. DJ Foster, Arizona State, right? Arizona State, I believe.
Undersized running back. JJ Taylor kind of beat him out in that role. Then how about Riley McCarron as another one of those shifty white receivers to come through that everybody got excited about. And I forgot about this, but he muffed a punt. He made the team, muffed a punt week 1, and he got cut. So
I didn't remember that.
That was against the Texans in 2018.
I did not remember that.
I don't remember a ton about that game. I remember that game being very forgettable. The Patriots did force a late fumble,
dude.
I'm pretty sure.
Wasn't that the 18?
Brian Cook's just 2017. Yeah, it was the 2018.
Sorry.
It was just like an overcast day at Gillette. Patriots kind of controlled the game for most of it. Not a super memorable game.
No.
Thad Skywalker in the chat saying Braxton Berrios. I think he's too good at football to qualify for this category. He actually did something.
Right. That's really the issue, is that we're looking for guys that, the entire point of the draft, and Jack had said that, Mac Jones and Lawrence Maroney, those guys didn't live up to the hype. And that's totally true. But we're talking about guys that didn't even play, like Sean Morey played special teams, but really didn't play, he finished his career with 11 catches, so it's one of those things where, the guy just wasn't on the field, So I think that's that's the issue, where you can look at it and say man, this is, that's really what we're looking for, is not those guys. Bryce Myers has played a lot, and especially for the Jets, has played a decent amount. Did he have 65 catches or something like that 2 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
So he's just, he's done too much in the league in order, to be on that list. So, but that's one of those things where we look at it and think, yeah, we all thought Braxton Berrios was going to be awesome, and then he comes here and you're like, he's not that good. But then he's done well in New York, and so that's kind of where he doesn't qualify. Chad Jackson probably could have been on the list. Chad Jackson really didn't do anything when he was here. Jacob Hollister, that's a pretty good one. Jacob Hollister,
he and Cody Hollister, brothers.
Yes,
one a wide receiver, one a tight end, which I always thought was funny.
I know. Yeah, Jacob just a little too slow to be a wide receiver, apparently. But
yeah.
Or either that, or Jacob was a little too small to play tight end. I don't know. So
I don't know how much more of this we want to do. I have another topic we can talk about, though, that I don't think
let's do it. Oh, Chris Canty. Don't even mention Chris Canty. All right, continue.
Yeah. This is we'll go negative here, but did you see Brandon Thorne's offensive line rankings?
I was actually thinking. I was thinking about that. When you said that, that was bad. Yeah, I listened to him. He was He was on the Athletic.
Yeah.
He was on the Athletic podcast too. I was listening to him on the Athletic podcast talking about, the Patriots offensive line, and man, that number 31. And I think it's justified what he said and the way he explained it. I think it makes perfect sense. His explanation makes sense. I am very worried. I have the same concerns about a quarter four at left tackle or right tackle, depending on what happens. I have serious concerns about Caden Wallace switching over and being the left tackle right away. Like I'm very worried about the whole situation.
Well, the gist of his analysis of the situation is that you've got a starting left tackle who was a low quality starting right tackle last year,
Right.
who's going to be asked to do more as a pass blocker. Your likely starting left guard is going to be City So. That's how it looks at the moment with Cole Strange up in the air, who was great as a run blocker last year, but not very good as a pass blocker.
Right.
David Andrews is solid, so you feel all right with him. And then Mike Onwenu, for as good of a run blocker as he is, he's an okay pass blocker, and it's tough to have a good offensive line when you can't trust either of your offensive tackles on an island with edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of this is that City So's biggest weakness as a pass blocker last year was on picking up twists and stunts and communicating and all that. So if you can't leave the tackles on an island, and you can't trust when the guards get involved, they're going to be making the right decisions and playing smartly out there, that leaves you in a tough spot. And I think that kind of becomes the concern with this group is, I think they can run behind them.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's one blank spot on this line right now, too. We're not even filling in the right guard spot when we're talking about this because that's, an open question right now. But, yeah, I think they can run. But if you're in third and long, I don't feel great about that. You look early in the season, you got to play the Jets and the 49ers with good defensive lines. The Jets are going to send twists and stunts at you. The Seahawks, you play them week 2. They're going to bring a ton of different blitzes at you. You have to be able to communicate and pass things off and play really well together as a unit for those. And as a pass blocking unit, the pieces are not fantastic as pass blockers, which means you are relying on a significant year-over-year improvement because of one, getting a little bit of development from these guys, like City So is a young player, and 2, coaching. You're relying so much on coaching being the difference maker to elevate these guys.
Well, I think the running, I'm not worried about the running. Even let's just say Onwenu stays at right tackle. I think he's a very good run blocking right tackle. I don't know if he's not a great pass blocking right tackle, but he's a very good run blocking right tackle. Mm-hmm. And theoretically, if Layden Robinson slides into that right guard spot, he's a house. And so running to the right side behind Onwenu and Robinson, I think will be successful doing that. How good will they be in pass protection? I don't know. And that's a serious question, especially when you have a rookie quarterback, which is another reason why I understand people are very excited about Drake May. And I'm also very excited about Drake May. And it's very difficult for me to sit there and say, yeah, no, we don't need to, we don't need to do anything. At the same time, okay, let's pump the brakes on it. He doesn't have to start day one. We can start Jacoby Brissett day one and be okay with it, So that's my concern, right? Is that you're going to stick Drake May behind the offensive line that can't protect him. And then you get into a situation where, he's just not good enough. And so that's a concern. And listen, and people have mentioned, Jack mentioned it and Mr. Roberto mentioned the same thing. Is there a chance that an offensive tackle comes available either through a trade or getting waived? It's certainly possible. The problem is that offensive line play across the league hasn't been great. So there's not really an influx of talent. No one's looking at it saying, oh, we got too many good players. We're going to have to cut someone or we're going to have to trade someone. It's just no one's looking at that right now. And so that to me is an issue where I look at it and just say there's no one out there, There's no guy that's going to magically be available for them. And there are guys, but like they're just bodies, and so I don't know if that, how much of an issue that's going to be for the Patriots, but I'm very concerned that Brandon's right and they're going to be one of the worst in the league again.
And Brandon's pretty good at this. He's very smart at evaluating offensive lines. I will say, listening to him on the podcast, he talked at points about offensive lines that surprised him last year. Mm-hmm. And one of the common themes was lines that didn't play well and then got coaching improvement and then played better. Right. Especially because offensive line is a spot where, communication's huge and your weak link, I think, matters more than your best player.
I agree.
So if, City so develops a little bit as a pass blocker, whoever their fifth offensive lineman is can slot in and give you, the level of play that City so gave you last year. And the communication is improved. Like they're still making mistakes. The tackles might not be great against speed rushes. Yeah. But if they're trying to cause confusion in the middle, you're picking it up better. If you can do that, and also, you can look better because you're designing things better offensively. If you got a quarterback who's making a better play on first down, so you're not in third and long, and the pass rushers can't tee up on you, then like the offensive line is going to look better as a result of that because they're put in better situations. So I think there's ways to mitigate it. I personally don't think they're going to be 31st in the NFL, but I don't think it would be a truly shocking result. We know that this offensive line is still a work in progress, and it's not without reason that Brandon Thorne gets to that opinion.
Yeah. And that's the concern, right? Is that it's realistic. It's not just being a hater. Like it's realistic to look at it and have some serious question marks. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Leverett is an important part of the offensive line. Now, Nick Leverett could be a guy that, is their kind of sixth player and is kind of a super sub for them. I could see that happening for sure, right? Whether he's playing both guard positions or whatever the case may be, but
he can play center too.
He can play center too.
And I think it was I forget who mentioned it on the show about him being a fullback too.
Yep, that's true. Yes, and in Tampa they used him a little bit as a fullback. So
he can be a sixth offensive lineman. You can use him in a lot of different ways there. I think he could be impactful in that role.
Right. And so, and look, I just think we're going to have to see what happens at camp. No pads have been on yet, and so we don't know what's going to happen. Cole Strange, look, I mean, what's sad is that, to hear Brandon gush about the Indianapolis Colts offensive line, and in particular Bernard Raymond, who is their left tackle, who has developed. Now, it took him a few years to develop. Okay, he was drafted in 2022, so he's played 2 full seasons. It took him a while to get there, but he's like a solid left tackle at this point. Drafted in the 3rd round. The Patriots spend their 1st round pick on Cole Strange and trade up in the 2nd round for Tyquan Thornton. And, again, knowing where the Patriots were at the time, right? Yeah, okay, he's not going to improve their offense significantly, especially when you have, Trent Brown ahead of him. But if he's a guy that can develop over time and you can develop that guy, now you're talking about, man, like we could have been we could have been in a position where we have the left tackle of the future on the team. And they just weren't ever in that spot. They were never drafting tackles to kind of be there. I know people were pissed last year they didn't take the kid DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. And so it feels like they have ignored the position for far too long. And that's kind of why they're in this spot. I think Caden Wallace could be a good offensive tackle. But the question is, can he play left tackle? Is he just a right tackle? And if he's just a right tackle, does that mean Onwenu has to slide back to guard? And that means a quarter force playing left tackle. And, and those are those questions. Then it's like, well, okay, so we start a guy at right tackle he's a rookie. Probably going to struggle a little bit at the beginning, and that's okay. We're okay with that. But, we want this to, happen. We want to rebuild this team, and, these guys are going to have to come along. And so it's just one of those, it's tough. Those are the hard things for me where you look at it and say, man, if we had spent it, and the same thing happened with the tight end position, right? After Gronk leaves, you never draft a tight end until it's too late, and then you're reaching for guys.
Yeah.
And so you did that same thing. I felt like, and it just it's frustrating, but that's kind of unfortunately the position that they've been put in, and that happens because you miss on the Isaiah Wynn pick. If you hit on that pick, well, you have your starting left tackle of the future, and you're good. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff, right? And by 2022, you knew you didn't, right? By 2020, you should have known you didn't. If we're being honest, So
it's a tough spot.
Yeah.
I do want to mention one other story before we wrap up here.
Yes.
Because I just remembered this. Have you seen the Jaden Daniels, Brendan Ayuk stuff in the last 24, 48 hours?
No, I did. I did see Ayuk posted something about like the Washington's offense or something like that on his Instagram story.
Yeah, Brendan Ayuk has been kind of openly trying to force a trade to Washington because he played with Jaden Daniels before, and he posted a picture on his Instagram story of what looked like a picture from a video of Washington Commanders practice with Jaden Daniels playing quarterback. Clearly, kind of watching Jaden Daniels film. I want to go play there type of thing, trying to get this deal. And obviously, the first takeaway from that is going to be the Brandon Ayuk 49ers drama. What happens to trade? But my first thing is, can we, for a minute, say thanks that we didn't draft a quarterback and put our entire franchise on a guy who's going to send clips from practice to other teams?
Yeah, it's rough.
I don't like that. Maybe this is something that is common and happens in the NFL, and like guys will like share plays and highlights with one another. And if that's true, I'll walk this back a little bit. But this is the first time I have ever seen players openly sharing practice film with players from other teams, like before the season. Like this is installs. This seems like the kind of stuff that you're not, because it wasn't like a clip of what do you call it? Jaden Daniels throwing drills or something. It's full. Right. It'll look like 11 on 11. So they're full on, installing plays at that point. And I can't imagine any coach would be too pleased with that happening.
No. And Jack mentions it could be from YouTube, but I don't think so.
This is the coaching all 22 film from practice. It's that angle, which you don't get publicly, unless maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Commanders do put some of this stuff on YouTube, but that is, again, would be the first I have heard of that.
I mean, listen, if it works out and they get Brandon Ayuk, I guess it was worth it, I suppose. But I don't know. I'll tell you, if Drake May winds up being the guy and Jaden Daniels winds up being a bust, Chad Ryland will go down as a hero in New England, all right? Because I truly feel, and I could be wrong about this, I feel like the Patriots were comfortable taking either guy at 3. I feel like they were very high on Daniels, they were very high on May, and they were going to take either one of them at 3. What would they have done at 2? I don't know. I don't know what they would have done at 2, and I think that from everything I've heard, they were split inside there as to who they had as number 2 and who they had as number 3. And there's a chance that if they were at 2, they'd take Jaden Daniels just like Washington did. And so, but I'll tell you, it would be pretty unbelievable if, and again, I was very high on Emmanuel Forbes, so certainly could be, he certainly could have a bounce back year this year. But if Washington took Emmanuel Forbes the pick before the Patriots took Christian Gonzalez, and then took Jaden Daniels the pick before the Patriots took Drake May, and they both wind up being hits, and they both wind up being busts for Washington, I mean, golly, that's just that'd be a rough few years for Washington, and Patriots have a lot to be thankful for. And that it then creates the meme where back-to-back years, and I've pointed this out multiple times, back-to-back years, Philadelphia had the number 1 pick and LA had the number 2 pick. And people let LA slide a lot when they talk about the Brown Tatum back-to-back years. But Philly had the number 1 pick back-to-back years. LA had the number 2 pick back-to-back years, and Boston had the number 3 pick back-to-back years. And Boston ended up with Tatum and Brown, and Philly ended up with Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz, and you're like, that's just it's highway robbery. And the Lakers took Ball and Ingram, who are both decent players. Ball's been hurt a lot, but but still, they're not Brown and Tatum. I'll tell you that much.
No, they are not.
So, but anyways, it could be wild if that ends up kind of happening in the same way. So, anyways, I think that's all we got. I think that's all we got here. We'll be back later on in the week. I know it's not going to be Thursday night. Thursday night, I'll be at the Red Sox game. If you're at the Sox game on Thursday, come say hello.
Sox. And go use GameTime to get tickets if you want to see.
That's
Patrick.
right, baby. Yup, GameTime. Promo code CLNS. That's right. Get some tickets to the game. I'm curious. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. I'm curious about what the prices for the Red Sox game would be. Let's see. If you wanted to come meet me in the game.
Yeah, I was going to use it to go get tickets to Sox Yankees this weekend in New York, but unfortunately the weather was not cooperating. The weather was one of two things: either massive thunderstorms or 95 degrees and humid. And I was not going to go outside either way.
You don't want to mess with that, bro.
The game was very nice from my air conditioned bedroom.
So there's $31 seats in the bleachers. Whew, $31 seats in the bleachers if you want to. The super deal right now, the field box row M, $82 a ticket right now. That's on the third base side. Row M's what? 20 rows up. That's a real nice. That's a real nice deal right there from GameTime. So download the GameTime app. You'll save $20 if you put in the promo code CLNS. So you only pay $62 for the ticket. So, but anyways, that's what we got. Thanks for coming through, guys. We appreciate it. We'll be back with you later on in the week with another show talking about who knows what. So we'll do something fun again. Talking about something. Also,
we're so close to training camp. We're almost there.
We're almost there.
You know what we're also close to, Pat?
What's that?
College football 2025.
That's right, baby. That comes out next week, right? Does that come out the 25th?
Next week. The 19th is when it comes out, but the 16th is when I think you can start playing it.
Okay. All right. There you go. How about that? I'm going to be away, so I won't be playing it. But when I come home, I'll be buying it and playing. Playing the crap out of it. Very excited.
I have already apologized to my girlfriend in advance for what I am going to be doing next week and how little she's going to see of me.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So also, quick update. I'm going to be I'm running a little bit in the morning, doing some training, and I will be running the Patriots conditioning test at some point in the next few weeks. We'll get that filmed and out there. So just a quick side note for people. I'm going to tweet this out, by the way, but I am doing those Patriot Squares again. If anyone's interested in the Patriot Squares, again, hit me up. It's $50 a square, pays out every halftime and final score of every game all year long. So if anyone is interested, let me know. Shoot me a DM or wherever the case may be. But anyways, that's what we got. We'll see you later on in the week. Take care, guys.